Hello, Birdie here to join you and do our joy box. So I'm super excited about this one. It is probably one of my favorite projects to date. And we were counting the other day and we've put out over 24 joy boxes. And that is so amazing. I just am blown away. Blown away by all you guys who are here crafting every month. And just wanted to encourage you. I've seen a couple posts in the group about you're a little behind or you've got boxes backing up. The time will come where you are going to have time to do those boxes, so don't stress about it. Give yourself grace. You're probably going through a busy season and there will be downtime, but also make it a priority to craft or put time aside for yourself, because I know we as moms and women in general just kind of put ourselves at the bottom of the list. So make sure to make yourself a priority. This month is an easy craft, but man, it's beautiful, and I feel like it can fit in all sorts of decor scenarios, from farmhouse to minimalist to boho to it's just super fun. And I love it. So let's get started. Your insert for the February Joy Box has obviously the picture. The links for all the information is here from your Joy Box tutorial on our website, to the Facebook login, to log into your account on our website, to the email. This is important. At the very bottom is our email. Please message us if you have any questions, any issues with any of your box, logins, whatever. We are here to help. And then here, write yourself on the calendar, make yourself a priority. This time is valuable to you, so I encourage you to do that. Open your box as soon as you get it and inspect all the items. Let us know right away if anything is, one, missing or two, damaged, and we will ship you out a replacement at no extra cost to you, so that you can get crafting on the day that you want to craft. Because I can imagine how frustrating it would be to sit down and have that time set aside and open it and then find something's not right and you're not able to finish your craft. So let me help you with that so we can get you that replacement right away. The video tutorial again is on our website and the Facebook group, so you can watch it in either spot. And then when you're finished, make sure to share your project. I love seeing everybody's style come out in your crafts, and I feel like it just inspires others when we share. It inspires others to step out in confidence and share, or be confident in trying something new. So your journey is inspiring other people, and it gives you that confidence as well. So let's share and rejoice in crafting. Okay, this month's box, what is in your box is, let me move my finished one off to the side here. You've got the wood base here that's got the hanger at the top. It has also got the home etched in or scored in on the top. Remember, if you want to do something different, there's always the back side that gives you that complete artistic freedom to move the letters around and place them how you want. So keep that in mind. You also have the words home twice for the home sweet home. You have an outer frame. You have your faux beads that sit inside that, and then the suite, which is attached to the inner frame. Okay, so that's your wood pieces, and then you've got your tray. We've got 4 colors. I am using just 2 on my example, but we included a couple others to give you some flexibility. And always remember, you can incorporate your own paint if you have it. So this month's paint colors are the white, the brown, gray, and black. You've got your black sponge brush for the back piece to apply that. You've got, actually there should only be 1 in your box, but you've got your makeup sponge, a sandy block, and 2 bottles of super glue. And then don't forget, everything comes in on the tray. Use that to put your paint on, mix, however you want to use that. What you're going to need this month for finishing is masking tape to hold your smaller letters in place while we paint them, baby wipes, or a damp rag. I did include paper towel here, but we're going to be doing some faux staining, and a paper towel can get shredded up really easy, but I've seen some pretty hefty duty paper towels. So if you've got some of those really thick, heavy duty paper towels, you'll probably be fine. Get it damp and away you go. If not, grab an old rag, an old holey sock, a t-shirt tore up, whatever you have that you can just toss in the garbage if you want afterwards. We just want it to make sure that it's something damp to create that faux stain. Water rinse cup, and a something to protect your surface. Excuse me, I lost my train of thought. Rags and paper towels for cleanup, and possibly a blow dryer to help speed the process along. If you're short on time, a blow dryer is a handy tool. Okay, so let's get started. In my example here, I did a white background with the brown on top. I think I'm going to reverse that for the tutorial, so you can kind of see some different ways that you can create your piece. I always like to do something just a little different. It's hard to do the same thing over and over, for me anyways. So we'll put that aside and get started here. So I'm going to do a brown background with a white frame and white letters. So I'm going to put my frame aside. I'm going to start by getting my little letters taped down so I don't lose those. I'm going to just grab a piece of masking tape, sticky side up, and I'm going to place the letters on that tape as I would read them. That just helps me make sure that I'm painting the right side as I'm going. Otherwise, sometimes I interchange the letters, or I flip them around, and then I have to repaint them. If you do accidentally repaint, or if you do accidentally paint the wrong side, no worries, just flip it over and paint the other side, and you have two-sided pieces. Okay, so I'm going to do the brown background, and I'm going to do a faux stain on the background. You can go with a solid color on the background, and if you're wanting to do a solid color, use your black sponge brush and dip this in water to get it damp, and then create a first coat that's really splotchy looking, watered down. That's going to be your kind of your primer coat. So you're going to do one coat like that, and then you will let that dry, and then you'll do a second coat that is got just a little bit less water. You still want to have some water in your brush to help you push that paint around. Otherwise, if you want to do a stained background, you're going to grab your baby wipe, and I'm going to grab my brown baby wipe or a rag, whatever you have, and we're just going to wrap it around our finger, and I'm going to dip it in the paint and kind of squeegee off all that excess. And then I'm going to come out and I'm going to start rubbing it on my piece. We're just pushing that paint around. The wetness of the baby wipe really helps keep things kind of fluid when we're doing it this way. If your rag is too dry, or your baby wipe, or your paper towel, whatever you're using, you'll notice you won't get as far, and it might start looking super splotchy. If that's the case, then you'll just want to add a little more water to whatever it is you're using. Okay, and we're just gonna keep going. And if your piece has maybe some darker spots where you maybe put a little too much paint, you can just, before it dries, you kind of have to work a little fast, but before it dries, let's say this area looks a little too dark. I'm gonna grab a different part of my rag here, wipe, and I'm gonna just wipe up that color. You can see I was able to take up some of that and it lightened that area a lot. Now wood is super porous, so you might need to, like this area right here where I'm working, you can start to see it degrade. It's also pretty dry. So I'm gonna move to a different area that is got still that damp wetness and start using that area. That wood is gonna soak up a lot of our liquid. Now, if you're painting a solid color on the background and you get your first coat down, that first coat is going to be super splotchy. You want it to have quite a bit of water in it. You're going to water your paint down. You're going to have water. You'll have water in your sponge brush. And it's going to look really, really splotchy, and it's almost going to look like we've created a faux stain, except it might not be as smooth and nice looking as this. And after your first coat, sometimes wood will get super rough or feel really grainy. And that's just the nature of wood. When we get wood wet, it's little fibers. So wood's made up of a bunch of little fibers. And once it gets wet, those fibers tend to want to stand up and expand. So if after your first coat of painting, you find that it's rough in some areas, you're going to use your sanding block after it's completely dry, and you're going to just lightly sand your piece, and that's going to knock your fibers down. Now when you sand it, you want to use a light to medium pressure. You don't want to take up a bunch of paint. You shouldn't be sanding it so hard that you start to see the wood underneath. We're really just knocking those fibers down to get it back to that nice smooth surface. So keep that in mind as you're painting. That's just a quality what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. I've lost it. That's just something that wood does, and so don't be alarmed if that happens on your piece. After you've sanded it, after the first coat, you're gonna possibly sand it, then you'll put a second coat down, and you're gonna still use a little bit of water, but maybe not as much to get that second coat. And then it kind of just depends on the color you use too. White, you'll probably need 2 to possibly 3 coats. It all depends on how you brush that color on. And that's just, again, we all kind of work differently. So sometimes I'm able to use, 2 coats. Sometimes I need 3. So it kind of just depends. Depends on how porous our wood is too. Sometimes I find some pieces just really soak that up. Okay, so I've got some little rough spots here. When you're creating a faux stain like this, it dries super fast. Mine is almost dry, so I'm gonna take my sanding block to it right now and smooth out those rough surfaces that I feel. I've got a few up here. I'm just gonna go through the whole thing from one side to the next. Okay. All right, there we go. So I have got this really pretty stained background. I feel like I've got some streaks happening. I might put a second coat on that. I'll have to decide that. So once you get your first coat down, you're gonna put that aside. Just like I did my first coat with the faux staining, you'll brush your first coat on, you'll let it dry. We'll put it aside while it's drying, and we're gonna work on these pieces. And I'm gonna use the white and create a white faux stain on this piece. So again, I've got my baby white, and I'm just gonna go over my pieces here. And I'm keeping my frames together because I can just hit all these pieces at the same time. You could separate them and work on just one at a time if you want. Now, if you wanted to create a solid color on your frames, you would use your makeup sponge and you'll dip it in the paint. You'll squeegee most of it off, and it's just a tap, tap, tap along the top of your piece. So this is giving the wood, with just using white on this wood, a really pretty, like a whitewash look or a bleached wood look. Okay, so I've got all my frame done. And now I'm going to work on these letters. When you're creating this faux stain on the letters, take your time at this point, go slow so that you don't break your letters, and use just a really light pressure. Make sure that you hold it while you kind of brush that color on. Okay. All right, we've got that done. Now I'm going to do the same on the letters. And just grab a little bit of white on my baby wipe and just go nice and slow, just gently brushing that color on the top to create kind of that faux stain. You can also use that makeup sponge that comes in your kit to dab the paint on if you prefer. And you don't have to do each piece of the frame the same color. You could do that outer frame piece, you know, a black. You could do the faux beads in white, and then maybe the inner frame and the home and sweet in black, and kind of mix it up. So don't feel like you have to do it my way. These are just suggestions. I come on here just to help guide you through the process, and but I in no means want you to feel like you have to copy what I'm doing exactly unless you really love it. Okay, so we've got all of this done. I am going to put that aside while it dries, and I'm going to bring my frame back. But before I do, whoops, I just want to lay this on here and make sure that my background is dark enough, which I think it is. I was thinking I might need a second coat on that, but I'm kind of liking that. So I don't need a second coat there. But I am going to put a little bit more white on my piece here. And I think I'm going to use the makeup sponge. It's super light. So I'm just going to go through, guys, real quick, and I'll speed this process up. But I'm going to put, using my makeup sponge, I think I'm going to make it a little more white. I started out with this faux stained look on the background or on the frame, and it's really pretty, but it's just not enough contrast with that brown background. So I'm just going to go through and dab a little more color on. Okay, there we go. So I've got my solid white down. I've got my base ready, and so I am going to glue all mine together, and then I might take the sanding block and kind of distress some of my white edges. So to start with gluing, I want you to start by gluing your outer circle first. Because this is thin wood, you'll notice that there is some flexibility to it in moving it, and especially with these thin pieces, you can kind of flex them so that they're like oval shape. So by starting on the outside, we're able to line up this outer edge first. That way everything will fit inside. So we're gonna start by that. I'm gonna flip it over. And then for your individual glue gun or glue bottles, your applicator, the red part, has a little piercing piece inside. So as you put your applicator on, it's gonna open your bottle for you. Couple things to note: always hold your bottle by the seam, not by the tube. Especially when you're opening it, if you hold it by the tube, you apply pressure to it, and glue will squirt out as you're putting on your applicator. So we're holding it by the tube. The other thing is you want to hold it upright so that glue doesn't spill out. It is a liquid form, so as we put our applicator on, glue will fall out if it's held upside down. And so we're just going to take this and we're going to slowly screw it on, go slow so that we have a slow pressure release on that bottle and we don't have an explosion of super glue everywhere. So I just go really slow here. And you can kind of feel it open, and sometimes there's even a slight hiss and a little bubbling at the top here. Okay, we're ready to go. The other thing I want to note is if you hate super glue and don't want to use this, you can use any other glue that you might have that's your favorite. You can use wood glue, Aleene's tacky glue, Elmer's all-purpose glue. as long as it's a clear drying glue, so that in case you get any glue on an area you don't want glue, it will dry clear and not ruin your piece. Some glue dries yellow. A lot of the wood glues out there will dry a really honey colored yellow, and it's not very pretty, and you don't want to ruin your piece. So if you switch out the glue, just make sure it's clear drying. Okay, super glue is super strong. You do not need to cover the entire piece with super glue. I just did maybe 4 drops every quadrant or area here. So 4 here, 4 there, 4 there, and 4 there. Okay, and then we're gonna flip this over and line it up with that outside. So I'm just gonna make sure, running my fingers along, that it's all in line. Also, sometimes when we get wood wet, it might kind of buckle or look like it's lost its flat shape. And just holding this down with some heavy books or your fingers while it sets will resume that shape of the piece too. But you have to be patient with it. If there is like a little, like maybe this area kind of curves up, put a book on it while it's gluing, so that that glue has some weight to it, and it will help it set up and hold those pieces down. Okay, then we go on to the next piece in, which is our faux beads. And again, we don't need one on every bead. I might go every other or every third bead here and drop just a little drop of glue. I was able to do this project with 1 glue gun or 1 little glue bottle, but we've included a second one just in case you need it. Okay, and then that sits down in there. I'm gonna hold it for a few seconds. Okay, next is our suite. And the one thing I want to let you know is you can place this, you have a little flexibility in placing this. We've got our home here that goes straight across. You can have this come at more of an angle if you want. The one thing that you need to make note of is where your bottom of your W is going to hit this H, or the E hits this E. So you've got a little flexibility to go either way. I guess just make sure that these letters don't hit that or don't cover your score marks. But you can have it just go straight, a little angle, or a little angle the other way. And again, if you are using the back side where there are no score marks, you have greater flexibility there in turning that suite at a greater angle. So I'm putting a couple drops on the outside of the circle frame, and then I'm going to come and add 2 to 3 drops on every letter on the biggest part of those letters. place this down. And I'll call that good. Then we'll place and glue down our home. And for each of these letters, I am putting a drop of glue kind of in the four corners of the letter. So one on the top, bottom right, bottom left, top left. Okay, there we go. What do you think? That is really pretty. I love that. All right, so I'm gonna take my sanding block and just smooth out some of the white a little bit. Maybe reveal some of that wood underneath. I love a rustic finish, so I love seeing little peaks of wood gonna come through. It's a total preference thing and total individual thing. So if you like more of that solid look, you do not have to sand your piece. tap out that sawdust. And there we go. I love that. So there are a couple different options for you. Let me grab that sawdust up before that paint dust, I should call it, before it gets everywhere. So we've got a darker background with a white frame, or the solid white frame. Gosh, that's a tough call there. I don't know what one I love more. Anyways, there you go, guys. There is your February Joy Box 2023. I hope that you enjoy this craft, and I can't wait to see your version. Make sure to write yourself on that calendar, find that time, make yourself a priority, but also give yourself grace if you need, if you're in a busy season, it's okay to let things sit for a while, and you'll get to it when you get to it. So, happy crafting, guys, and I will chat with you later. Bye.